I have a bit of a disclaimer. Now, this particular tutorial is all about using things that you have at home. Unfortunately, I had to go out and I had to buy some mint, y'all, because my mint plant is struggling. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. But yeah, mint, sorry. Hello and welcome to another episode of School Days. However, this particular School Days episode is very special. It is a masterclass. Now, it's not exhaustive by any means, but we're going to be going into a bit more about how to shoot cocktails. When I first started photography, like way back in the day, over 20 years ago, I was a struggling student. And I didn't have money to invest into, the lights and the cameras. I had a film camera, y'all, like back in the day, film camera. I even bought like a flash. And when it came to lighting, I had my lamps at home. Yes. So that's it. That's all I had. And I even made my own backgrounds. I mean, it was all about utilizing things that I had at home until I could start making a little bit of money. Now, this particular tutorial, we're going to be shooting cocktails, as in a mocktail today, so no alcohol. But it's all about utilizing things that you might have at home. Now, if you don't have some of the things that we're going to be using, feel free to improvise, have fun, but try not to actually order anything and go out and buy something unless you're just really struggling. So we're going to jump right into it. But before we jump into it, we need to change shirts. So reason being is that whenever you actually wear anything that has a really strong color, it actually reflects on the subject that you're actually shooting. And since we're going to be up and close with these cocktails and drinks, well, we've got to change shirts, y'all. So let's go ahead and let's do this. Here we go. Yes. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. So one of the first things I love to think about when it comes to beverage photography is the story that I'm trying to tell. So yes, beverages and drinks can tell stories. I mean, talk to some of the best mixologists and bartenders out there, and they will tell you that even the ice has a particular story, and we'll be talking about that later. But one thing I do first is I like to storyboard. I do that really quickly. I go to Pinterest, I scroll, and I find some really key images that I love. Now, with Pinterest, it's not about trying to copy anything that you see or copy a particular style. Honestly, it's about gaining inspiration, finding color palettes, finding a harmony of colors that you might have or that you might see. Now, you also want to think about things that you have at home. So if you know that you have a particular fruit at home, and then you might have a particular, if you're using alcohol at home, like rum or gin, then you want to start thinking about those colors. And what I like to do is to keep it very basic. I want to think about having a particular primary color and then also having a secondary color. So we might have the actual color of the drink itself. And then we have some type of botanicals. And botanicals can range to a variety of things. I love using different herbs. Now, I tend to grow my own herbs. You can see back here behind me. But, a lot of times that doesn't always work. I have to go to the store and I grab some things like I did earlier. We grabbed some mint. Now, for the particular mocktail that we're going to be making today, it's going to be a mix of raspberries, mint, some type of fizz, soda, ice. We're going to have some fun and some lime as well. So a very, very basic recipe, something that is very easy to do at home, and you can replace that with any type of fruit and any type of fizzy drink that you want to use. And the next thing that you want to think about when it comes to storytelling are the type of props that you might use. And I think about this early on. So I also think about the type of glasses that I have at home. So again, use what you got in your cupboard, okay? Here are things that I like to think about is, does it have a particular shape? How will the colors kind of emanate through that particular glass? Now, if you have a glass that's like really curved with lots of like jutting lines, like something like this, I feel like this is kind of a bit like a sexy type of glass. If you're using a glass that has a lot of shapes and curves, then you might want to use a bit more of a bold type of cocktail. So colors that are really bright, reds and, deep, like, just really type of vibrant berry colors. So that's one thing I like to think about with my glassware. Hey, so yeah, this is my background paper. And if you notice, it's not just one, it's many different pieces of background paper. And they're actually not that wide, but they're perfect for things like flat lays. I can manipulate the paper so I can kind of slightly bend it. I'm going to show you guys how I do that. Now, these type of papers can easily be made. They can be used from or made from pieces of wallpaper. You can buy like a thicker type of paper at different craft stores, and then you can go ahead and get some paint and speckle it. That's if you really want to make your own backgrounds. Now, I've used things like if I'm shooting food or other types of cocktails that have a bit more of a moody type of look, I might grab a pan from the oven that has some oil stains on it, and it gives it a really nice texture. So there's lots of things that you can do. But use what you have at home. When you have the money, you've made some money from the sales of your work, then go out and maybe invest in a few different things. Now, the backgrounds I've had for quite some time, and I just use them for specific projects. Other times I try to get creative. I create my own backgrounds. I create my own, it's just really about DIY and having fun and making it look like you. It is all about the story. So for this particular mocktail, we're going to actually be shooting it inside, and actually we're going to show you how you can shoot that outside by stepping out onto your balcony or, within social distancing guidelines, step outside if you have a garden, so on and so forth. Now, there is some good natural light coming in right now. I live in London, so the light comes and goes most of the year. We have gray skies, but for some reason, we've had a lot of sunlight lately. The light just keeps coming in. So this is the problem with shooting in natural light. It's so freaking frustrating. So we're going to be using a type of background paper indoors to shoot, and then we're going to move outdoors. And we're going to do that all very quickly. It doesn't take a lot of time. The whole thing about creating a mocktail to shoot is just the story. So creating a really great story and styling it to really suit your own aesthetic and your own look. So lastly, we're going to be talking about your camera and what you're shooting with. Now, with any type of food or beverage photography, you can use a fancy DSLR. And this is a really good kind of upper mid-range DSLR. It's just a Canon 6D. I'm also shooting right now on the Canon 6D Mark II. And again, it's about using the equipment that you had. Whenever I was shooting, first starting out, like I said, I was using a film camera, and I did not go digital until 2009. And then I shot with Sony for years, and then I made the move to Canon. But you know what? What happens when I'm out and about and I come across a good drink, or I go out and I want to shoot something and I don't have my camera with me? I use my mobile phone. And mobile phones can be used to do a lot. And you can use Lightroom and be shooting from the actual Lightroom app. And then you can shoot that whatever you would like and edit it within the app. So there's a lot of different ways that you can really approach food and beverage photography. And so with cocktail photography today, you're going to use whatever you have, whether that's your mobile phone. I'm going to show you some staging for that, as well as using a DSLR to capture your beverage. Without further ado, let's jump into it. I'm going to give you a few quick tips that I believe all the pros love. So before shooting, make sure that you take a microfiber cloth and really wipe down your glass. We don't want to have a lot of, fingerprints and oils. Our fingers hold a lot of oil and debris. So go ahead and clean that out. If you can, wear gloves. But, right now there is a national shortage of gloves. So just wipe that down and make sure you get those fingerprints really well. So another tip or hack that you should think about is that whenever you're shooting, make sure that your cocktail is poured last. So that means style your scene, give it that je ne sais quoi, and then pour your fizzy bubbles. Now, the reason why we say that is that the worst thing to do is to shoot any type of beverage that's supposed to look fizzy, it's supposed to look fresh, and then it's just been kind of sitting there. So we want to make it look really great. Now, here's another tip that I love, and this is for keeping your herbs looking really fresh all throughout shooting. Even these ones, I've only been out for less than an hour and they're struggling. And I only did them like this so that you can see what I'm using. Now, I'm going to submerge these in a container full of ice water. And what happens is that it keeps them looking really nice and fresh, keeps them hydrated. It's called shocking. So you want to shock your herbs. And this is a tip that mixologists and bartenders use around the world, and they swear by it. And it's something that I love because it just keeps those herbs looking like, very nice, very nice. So what about the ice? Well, if you notice, I don't have any ice right now, and that's because it's in the doggone freezer. Okay, we don't want our ice melting all over the place. We're going to be using ice in this particular shoot and to give it a really nice texture and look, but you will go through a lot of ice. And then if you're shooting on backgrounds that are not, liquid proof, that can pose a big problem. So make sure you keep your ice in the freezer, or you have a type of like refrigerated container that you can put your ice in, and then it's near the table. Now that's something I love to do. I have a little hamper that we got whenever we got married. It was a gift. And even though I don't use it very often, I use it for this. Put that ice in there and then take it out whenever you're ready to shoot. So after setting up my background paper and taping down my edges, I like to pour my drink and then move the scene over onto the background. And then from there, I make some small adjustments, add any type of herbs or flowers or extra fruit to give the scene context. And then after checking the settings on my camera and light, I like to move in and start low, working my way, shooting images horizontally and vertically, and then begin to move up high for that really great dramatic flat lay image. From there, I take out my mobile phone and then I'll start to shoot with my mobile phone using the same technique, going from low to high, making small adjustments to the lighting. I use the same tips outside as well. The only thing you have to worry about outdoors is environmental elements like wind. But there you have it. You have just captured your first cocktail. If you want to learn how to edit these images you shot, well, the tutorial would be extremely exhaustive and very long. So I do teach in-depth editing techniques in my Food and Drink Photography 101 course. Check it out and enroll if you want that thorough guidance on how to get magazine quality and pop-in edits. But one of the best things to do at the end is to actually drink and enjoy whatever you shot. So cheers, have a good one, enjoy that drink after you finally finish shooting it. And hopefully we'll see you again soon on the next episode of School Days, the Masterclass series. See you later.